All right, we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to DC Fine Art. So today was going to be our part 2 for working on the Pelican. And if you're wanting to kind of follow along or kind of see how I'm doing this and you want to just try it on your own, I do have and you're not wanting to trace it. I mean, you can trace it directly off the reference photo. Reference photo is listed below, or you can also draw it, trace it, do whatever you feel like doing. If you don't have time to do either or, over on my Patreon, I do have the line drawing available. So go check that out if you're wanting the line drawing for it. That is over on my Patreon as a free member, so you don't have to pay to get that. So that's one thing that you guys can do. I do apologize though. I know feels like it's been forever. We had a bunch of storms roll through, I think last week, and for our live stream, we ended up having basically really strong winds that went through here, and it actually took out the roof of the veterinary clinic that I take my puppy to. The whole roof came off of it, and a lot of trees were blown down. And all the way through where the veterinary clinic was, where I take my dog, they had like 5 or 6 power poles that were literally snapped in half and laying on the road. So we had like no electricity for, gosh, it was for a little while, and it was going on and off whenever it did come back on. So then I, had to cancel the live stream and I tried to have it the next day with you guys, but then the power went out again, and it was out for a good like 3 hours or so. I literally had to go out and get lunch because, yeah, we couldn't, no power. So I'm glad that everything's going good. Just had some rain today. Hopefully no storms. This is how things have been going. If you guys are new to this channel and you haven't seen this, basically I just chat. I work on like whatever medium we'll be working on. This time it's going to be color pencil, and I'll just work on the color pencil, and you guys can ask questions, or if you're new to color pencil, you're just wanting to see how things are done or how the process is done or how I do it. This is a good live stream to be able to watch that, and you can get some real good learning in a slower pace. And you can ask questions too, so that also helps. Or you can just chat along about how your day was, and you can work on your artwork too, if you have one that you're working on. So any of those things definitely is what I've been doing. And as far as Patreon goes, I want to apologize to you guys because I haven't got the video out for the little duck. I haven't done the background on it, so we're just stuck with basically the lemon and the ribbon, and we still need to work on the ground. We still need to work on the little duckling, and I haven't done that, and that's why I want to apologize to you guys. I've just been so busy with everything that's going on. I've been trying to keep, let's just say, I let a bunch of basically all the housework that needed to be done around the house basically got left undone, and I was reorganizing a lot of things. So I've been working my butt off with that and haven't been doing what I really would like to do, is finish off that painting for you guys. So we'll just see how things go. I just, like I said, I do apologize for that. For my $5 tiers, or actually a $6 tier, I think it starts, it's like 1 and then 6. I will be doing something extra for you guys. Even if I have to send maybe a little something extra this month, that's what I'm going to do. Anything to kind of make up for that. And then we'll just kind of go from there. I may end up making a separate post on YouTube, kind of going over some of the things that might end up changing in the future. Not for sure yet. It's just been really busy. So let's go ahead, turn this around, and let's get started with this little pelican here. Also, this is where we left off. So let me move this up just so you can see what I've done so far. So this is what we did on our last live stream here, and then I went ahead and just kind of finished up the wood on this other side. We did do a little bit of his feet, but we need to start working on his head up here. So that's what we're going to be focusing on, is basically his head, his eye, basically the beak area. Definitely need to get that one done. So probably more in this general area, and then we'll work on out. Now, if you're asking me like, what are you going to be doing after you get done with this pelican? I'm thinking about actually adding more to this pelican, but I'm not for sure. Like, I was actually having some ideas kind of go through my head on what I could actually create. So we'll just have to see how this live stream goes, and just how I'm going to kind of take it week by week, basically. There's a lot of things that's been going on, and I definitely need to do a separate video just explaining everything on what might end up changing here. So I got my reference photo already on a separate little iPad here thing, little tablet. I'm going to lower this quite a bit. That way you guys can see a whole lot better. I know I haven't had anybody complain about the view, but it did work out really nicely last time whenever I could zoom in a little bit more. It's not too blurry, is it? Hopefully it doesn't focus on something else. We'll just see how it goes. So we're going to be working on his eye. And I usually don't like to do an eye just pure black. I like to throw in like make it really dark, but add a little bit of a dark, like either indigo. You can do a dark indigo, or you could do a or a dark blue, like a midnight blue and black mixture. I think actually I probably have this over here. Dark indigo. That's more of the Derwent. Let's see here. We'll just do this. Let's just do this dark indigo. It's so tiny on here compared to the reference photo. It's going to be super small. So we're going to put that in, and then I'm going to put in a black just to make it that much darker on top. It is so tiny though. If it was a bigger eye, I'd probably be more picky about it. I can even find my black. You know, I use my color pencils, and sometimes I lose them. I use them quite often, actually. Actually, it's probably pretty small. There's one down in here. There it is. A little bit of a black. Yeah. You won't be able to see it, though. But if it was a bigger pupil where you had a bigger eye than that, you could always go and put blue in it and then a little bit of black. That way it gives it a little bit more depth. Being such as it's really, really small, I don't think it's going to make too much of a deal. I wouldn't really worry about it too much. We're going to leave that aside because we definitely have to do the outside of the eye. I'm going to start working on the inside here. So yeah, it's super small. I probably want to work with like put some violet in there, like maybe a gray violet, a violet gray. I always say it backwards. Really like that color. And then we can put some, here's some sepia, 10%. That's a really nice color. Let's see, what other colors do I see? I really like color. Looks like it's in there, like more of a like an oat color or a wheat color. If we had a wheat, I know we got a wheat in the, oh, here we go. Let's see here. This might not be light enough. I don't know. What is this? This is raw umber. Let me go to, I want like a wheat color. Here's brown ochre would probably work. What are these two? Naples ochre. It's probably a little bit too yellow on that. Primrose. I just don't want to go too yellow. Maybe the primrose or the brown ochre. I'm going to keep one of those two out for a highlight. I'm actually thinking the brown ochre might be too much. I don't know. We'll keep it. We'll just try and use those as is. All right. So you always want to make sure, especially working in some of these smaller areas, that your pencil is sharpened. Where is my sharpener? Oh, of course I left it up there. Hold on. By the way, if you guys were listening to the last live stream and my husband decided to mow the lawn and it was really super dark and it sounded like he was hitting pretty much everything in the yard, he really did pretty much hit everything in our yard. Like, it was so funny. Like, oh my gosh. I know the grass was cut, but he ran over like 5 rocks, like 7 tree roots. He ran over a metal yard ornament. He ran over our garden hose that was made of metal, and our hose that was attached to it. Oh my God. He ran over everything. I know I shouldn't laugh, but it's like there were so many casualties outside in our barn yard. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, what did you do? If you can't see, then stop. He's like, well, I don't understand. If you have, he goes, I forgot how he said it. It was like, I told him, I was like, my goodness, if you couldn't see. And he's like, why was how did you guys not hit it? I'm like, because we knew it was there and we just kind of went around it or used something different. He totally ran around it. He hit it. So putting some of those colors in there. It's really tiny though. It's a nice little highlight though. I'll put some darker colors in there. Probably a darker, do I feel like a purple, like a darker purple or fuchsia? Let me see here. I don't see one in this. I just want it a tad bit darker. I got a purple. Purple eyes. Like I said, it's going to be super tiny. So, oh, where's my little, I need my little broom duster. I'm like forgetting everything. Oh my goodness. It's such a tiny eye. I hope you guys can see clearly. That eye is so tiny. Yeah, there ain't no way I can pull this thing down anymore, is it? Nope, as far as it goes. All right, let's just see if we can't make this pupil just a little bit darker. So we're gonna go in there and just kind of go around it. We also need to go around the actual eye. So I'm just using my black for that. The other bottom is supposed to be a little bit wider. Okay. I want like a dark gray. Sure, there's one in here. So Payne's gray, that'll work. Just a little bit, and then let's go ahead and get some of that purple violet and kind of stick it in there. I don't want it to be too thick on top. And then create that little highlight on the bottom. Just kind of going around. This should be good, except for the little highlight. Little highlight, we can use our Derwent drawing. And if it doesn't stick, because there's so much in there, then we can always come back over it with our titanium white mixture and put a highlight in there if we wanted to. I just don't want it to be too bright if there is. The other thing that you can do, if it's not really showing up too much, which we don't really need, such a tiny little eye. Let's go around it. There we go. Okay, I think that'll be good. It's so tiny. Like, I would probably have to lift this up just to kind of show you, maybe. There we go. It's just a really tiny eye. See that little mark in there? I'll probably have to go in and just kind of clean that up a little bit. Tiny though. And I noticed I just repeated that. You know, it's really bad. When somebody's like, you know, you repeat everything. Well, now I just heard myself repeat it. Thank you. Whoever that was just made me that much more paranoid. Okay. Now we're going to go around the eye, and it's more of like, he's got more of this orangey, reddish kind of tones along with some creams for highlights in and around his eye. So we are going to grab those colors. I'm going to put some of these other ones back so that way I don't confuse myself. I will keep the dark indigo and the black out. Definitely. The rest of them can go back. Excuse me. So now we're looking for oranges. Where, there you are. Orange or red orange. I'm just going to pull out all my oranges that I see, so that way I've already got the colors. I don't really want too much of reds in there. Just more of a reddish orange. I don't really want to go beyond that. Maybe a peach kind of color for peach. Yeah. I don't know if that's peach or pink. Burnt ochre. Burnt ochre, 10%. Yeah. Maybe. We'll see. And I may even grab like a cream kind of color. What is this one? Light flesh, 10%. That would probably be really good. So definitely that for highlights. I'm going to keep these two off to the side. I'm not for sure if I want to use those yet. We got some lighter oranges. Definitely need those. That one there, I'll read it to you guys if I can read it. It's apricot. Apricot's a good one. We got orange, just plain orange. I don't know if I want to go to that extent. We got some dark cadmium orange and cornelian. I think that's what it's called. And then what do we have here? Permanent red. So this one here is more of a reddish color. We may end up using a little bit of it, but just not a whole bunch. All right, so let me go ahead and take some of that red. I know I need like maybe a darker red to throw in there. Let me see here. Let's use this one. This one looks really good. I like this dark color. What is it called? This one here is Parline Brown. Isn't that something? It looks reddish to me, so we are going to use it. And I'm just going to kind of come around here and add this darker color in and around his eye. Not all the way around though. Just a little bit. Should use my brush for that. Okay. I may have to use just a little bit in here too. Kind of create a little bit of a shadow. Like I said, this is very small, so it'll be close, it just won't be perfect. As long as you can settle for close, it's good. Okay, let's bring in some of these orangey colors. These lighter apricots. I like this color. And I know it seems a little bit bright, but that's how you got to do it. You got to do the darker colors and then layer on top with your lighter colors to kind of get the effect that you're needing to get. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I mean, I could do a little bit on the outside of that, but and then we can go a tad bit lighter. I don't know if that's showing up as good. Let me take the white. Okay. I need more of a reddish kind of color in here. I made this lighter apricot that kind of cascades just a little bit down in here. Okay. I won't be using any odorless mineral spirits in his little eye here because it is just way, way too tiny, and there's no sense in using your odorless mineral spirits in such a tiny area. I would just work with it until you get it the way you want it, and then just go ahead and burnish and get the colors in that you're needing, so that way you don't have to do the odorless mineral spirits on it, because that will basically, it'll wipe it out. It's just too tiny. I'm going to add a little bit more black, kind of creating a little bit more shadow within that eye. Definitely right in here too. There we go. Looks a little bit better. Always look at the camera just to kind of see if you guys can see what I see. Okay, now we're going to extend on out. And it's got a little bit of this apricot kind of coming in here, just kind of speckled a little bit. He's got more of this reddish color on this side, just kind of coming in. There we go. And then right in here, just a little bit more of a reddish tone. Right in here, he's got a little bit of a dark shadow kind of going on. So we'll just take that brown kind of color and just kind of put it in there. Just a little bit. Doesn't seem dark enough. We can always go back in with our black on top just to make it a little bit darker. Okay. I think that looks about good. I don't really need to put too much of a dark shadow in there. Let me kind of lighten that up just a little bit. Okay. All right, so we got this cool looking eye there. Kind of neat, kind of close up. Okay, we got the beak. Let me see here. I even actually noticed a little nostril in there. So let's go ahead. We're going to be using some of our browns. I'm just going to pull out some of these browns that we already have. I think we took some out anyway. Let's start going to go. We have a sepia, natural brown. That's in the Derwent Light Fast. That'll be a good one. And I know I got some probably Castle Earth and Dark Flesh in here. Yeah, here's a Dark Flesh. Where's my Castle Earth? Castle Earth. Okay, so I got these browns here. I'm going to go ahead and put up some of our oranges. That way I don't get them too many pencils up and around me. Don't think we need, well, we'll keep that one. Oh, apricot I don't need. Okay. I will have to sharpen some of those because they have not been sharpened. And I definitely want to put in his little nostril in here. It's pretty close to this area in here. This goes up, goes down, so it'd be like right in here. Okay. That's a little bit of a grayish tone. So I wonder if I got like a sepia or a French gray. That'll work. Let's put just a little bit of that French gray in there. Okay, now we can go ahead and start working around. So I want to put in kind of a base layer in here. We will be blending this. He is so far away that really his feathers are going to be hard to see. He's got a really big mouth here. Where does that line start? It starts like right in here. comes down. He's got this wrinkle. What am I using? I'm using like a dark indigo. It comes down to here. And then another wrinkle. Part of his chin here. We'll just make that line just kind of come down. Okay, we actually have this line extending on up, so just kind of putting it in, filling in where the best I can see. Now I'm just going to go in and start filling in some of this brown. I really want a good, nice base layer to this. So I'm just lightly filling this in. I'll make some little jaggedy marks in there just to make it a little bit uneven. Okay, this here is also brown. I don't want it too even in there. Okay, that looks about right. How far down? Let me see. This brown basically goes all the way down his belly here, or to his beak. Not his, well, it's on his belly, but. So we're just going to go ahead and fill that in. Okay. We will have to add some more darks in there. Let me take my black and I'm going to go in here and just start putting a little bit of a shadow also. I will be blending this out with odorless mineral spirits on this part. Okay. Okay, I'm going to make sure that that nostril is definitely in there because we'll probably have to come back and put a highlight in it because when you blend with odorless mineral spirits, it can wipe out the center just a little bit. I don't want to blend it too much because I don't want to make a big mess. It is still kind of a smaller area. It's just not as small as that eye. And if you think it looks just a little bit still too gritty or grainy, that's still going to work in your benefit because it is kind of a fluffier area. I'm making sure it's dried off the best I can. I don't want it dripping wet. If you think, okay, it looks a little bit dark, that's fine. It'll lighten up just a little bit once it dries, but I really want to put in our lighter colors on top, like our highlights. That way it stands out. So now we got our browns in there. I'm going to wait until that dries. Once it dries, then I can go ahead and layer on top of it and make it a little bit lighter, add a little bit of texture in there. But for now, we are going to let that dry and we are going to move on. So while that's drying, let's go ahead and put some of those rustic, kind of those rusty kind of colors in there along his beak. Like I got a hiccup and I'm like not trying to hiccup. I hope like there are probably like noises coming in through my microphone. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, do not hiccup. Just want to put a little bit of those rusty colors in there. As far as the line goes, it goes all the way down. I'd probably use like a lighter gray. This is a French gray, 30%. Looks about right. It actually could be a little bit darker, but we'll try it out and see. That gives me the right color. Remember, we can always go a tad bit darker if needed. I gotta zoom in on his beak just a little bit so I can see. Actually, I shouldn't have drawn that. That actually shouldn't have went down that far. If it ends up going too far, like you get carried away, it's just one mark. You can easily erase it or make adjustments if needed. Just reference photos, not Wouldn't consider it the greatest reference photo. It's really hard to see those lines, especially whenever it's so tiny. Let's make them just a tad bit darker. I'm going to put a little bit of blue in there. Just slightly put a little touch of blue. I think this is blue. Dark, well, dark indigo. Just the light. Okay. Also, you can always leave a, I always do a reminder. At least I need to remind myself to do a reminder. Goodness, words are definitely not coming out right. So if you could please leave a like on the video, definitely helps the video grow. And yeah, usually I don't ever say it. Like I always forget to say it. And then whenever I do remember to say it, I jumble up all my words and it just doesn't come out right. All right, so let's go ahead and stick some of his beak in there. We're going to use a French gray 10%. And we'll just see how this goes. I want to put this in here lightly because I definitely want to go on top of it with some of my white for a highlight. We're only going midpoint because it does change colors. His beak definitely changes colors. It's actually got a little bit of a shadow. Coming in on the top side of his beak, so we can always go just a hair darker. I would come back in with that French gray 30%. Let's just kind of go on top of it. Okay. Is there a lighter? I so want to stick another color in there. Let me see this one. I think this is the raw umber. And maybe just a little bit darker. It's about the same. I'd like to add a little bit of a purple tone to it. Where's my gray violet? Yeah, right here, or my violet gray. I want to always say a little backwards. I'll put a little bit of this gray violet in here. Right along the edges, not on the inside. Leave that alone, just around the edges. Or right on the top of his beak, add a little bit of that in there too. Okay. And you can come back through with your white and you can add a little bit of a highlight to it. You don't have to blend it out with the odorless mineral spirits if you don't want. Having a little bit of that texture look to his beak won't hurt nothing. It'll actually probably make it better. Now, if you're wanting to get really detailed and you want to add some of those speckles in there, you can go ahead and add the speckles in. That's something that I may end up coming back and doing like a little bit later on, probably not right now. Now I notice that if you zoom in to those speckles, they kind of start in and then they start getting more clustered up. You got, here we got more oranges, we got more browns, and some lighter, probably apricots. So here we go again. Some of those colors that we were using previously, I guess I should have kept out. So I see apricots, I see the oranges, at least the reddish oranges. Yeah, I'll take out the red. And of course some of the brown. I don't know if we need any of the dark red. I think I kept some of that out. Yeah, I did. Okay. I'm also seeing if you move up, you can also see some other colors in there. So basically just have fun, just add your colors in and don't stress too much about it. Let me see what kind of, see if there's like a different type of brown we can use. Here is burnt sienna. That's more of a reddish brown. I don't think I want to go that far. Let's just, where's that Derwent natural brown? Yeah, let's do this. And there's a lot of like speckles, so I would just kind of very lightly with the natural brown, just kind of go in and kind of shade some of these areas, hit or miss, just kind of make a little bit here and there. Don't fill it in too much with the brown, like as far as like filling in enough to where you can't add in more color. Like I put just enough in there and I left a whole bunch of gaps. And I did that because we are going to put in oranges. Oops, let me go ahead and sharpen this. So now I'm putting in some circles. There's some orange in here. Let me see how far down it goes. Oh, let me start going into more of an orange kind of swoop in here. Let me take this reddish tone and just kind of stick it in there too. Yeah. Let's take the apricot. We may end up blending some of this brown out because I really don't want it to be that uneven or at least too gritty and grainy. Uh-oh. I just heard my puppy dog bark and I'm not for sure why. And there he is again. I know his bark. Either he's playing because he knows Daddy's home, or he's playing with Rachel. Who knows? Unless he's seen another dog or a cat or a squirrel, he'll bark like crazy. Then I know something's up. I'm like, okay. There's some cords everywhere. Yeah, I got some ideas for Patreon that I don't know. I'm just going to throw it out there because at least I don't want to throw it out there now, but I want to make a video on it. Just kind of, I don't know. I've been having like thoughts on, you know, how, because it is really hard for me to try and keep up with the house and keep up with everything else and then trying to do videos until I can get caught up. So I don't know if I need to just take some time off to kind of get that stuff caught up and then get back to the routine, or doing something a little different. Because my son has mentioned some ideas that other people have been doing with their live streams, and it seems a little bit more easier for me because, I mean, it still takes up time, but I don't know. I don't know. I got a lot of things going on in my mind that I'm like, okay, trying to get caught up with things here at the house. Especially if I wanted to do any kind of like landscaping or anything like that, it's like, oh my gosh. And basically it's just me. My husband's like not here all the time. He works away from home. So makes it really hard for like one person. I'm going to throw in some of these other colors. Okay. I'm going to let that dry, his bottom of his beak dry just a little bit more before we add any layers to it. But I should be able to come back and start working some more on his brown fur that should have dried. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick in a lighter color in here. So if we look in, and I know you see brown, but you got to look beyond the brown. So you do see some lighter colors in there. You do see darker colors. So I'm going to come in there. I'm going to try and find some lighter colors like a brown ochre, just plain brown ochre. And go ahead and sharpen it and we'll try it out. If you're not for sure, just try it out. If it ends up not being the right color or looks not right, then hop on over to a different color. Or if you want to spend more time on it, you can always do a color chart and just kind of have your colors already down and just kind of pick out which colors would be the right fit. So you can do it either way. Like I said, this is super tiny, so we don't really have to put too much in there. Just some little lines, just kind of showing which way the fur is going, or his little fuzzies that's in there. Make sure to go around his nostril. Okay, let's come in here, just make some little texture marks. Bring it on down. We are going to come back through. We could add some darker tones in here. Especially when my shadow's like covering up everything. It's like, oh my gosh. Can't even see myself here. Let me see if there's any more lighter areas toward the bottom here of his. We'll just stick in a little bit of a lighter area in there. Won't be much. Now I want to come in through here and add some darker tones. And this is my black. Quite possibly I need to add a little bit more to this. I just now noticed it has to be a little bit thicker, so we may need to make a little bit more adjustment by adding a little bit more thickness to this brown part here. I'm using my Derwent drawing on this too, so it should be easier to blend out. Where was that lighter color? Where did it go? Right here. And then the black. Looks a little bit better. See if I have any still left over where I don't have to dip my brush into any more, and just kind of soften some of this out, except for that area there. Go. Okay. Now we made some of those texture marks, may look a little funny, but we're still going to put in some more of our shadows. So I'm going to come in here and just kind of put in some shadows. What did I pick up? Dark indigo. I really like to put some like grayish tones in there too, maybe just a little bit. So mix it up. Don't be afraid to stick multiple colors in there. Make that highlight in his nose stand out a little bit more too. Okay. I think this is my darker Castle Earth. And we'll come back through and add some more darks in there. My little shadow is definitely getting in the way on me here. See if I can't change that. That might help out just a little bit more. Now I know whenever I'm looking at it in the camera, it looks a whole lot lighter than what it does in person. Like, it's got a little bit more richer colors here. Regular brown. What's this brown? Sepia. Ain't too bad. Now let me go in and stick some more of this lighter, I think it's a brown ochre in that we started off with. Might throw in just a little bit more. And it may look a little bit different than in the reference photo, but it's okay. We're working with a really small area, and I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. There's going to be so much in this painting or in this drawing that it's going to end up I wonder if it actually, you could see it better if I lifted it up. It just looks really light for some reason. So yeah, we got it's like a whole lot darker. And you see where absolutely magnetized. If there's any of those areas that you're wanting to smooth out, you can do that with a little bit of odorless mineral spirits if you want to. If you don't feel like using odorless mineral spirits to wipe it completely out, you can always go in with like a blender and just kind of get some of those areas. I like the Caran d'Ache Luminance blender. Or usually sometimes I just do this. Just lightly kind of go over some of those areas that still has that gritty, grainy kind of look. And I try and soften them up. Not everywhere, just in the areas that really stands out. There we go. Okay. So now that I got that done, we can go ahead and stick, I'm going to stick a little bit of a brown in here. I know I used a little bit of odorless mineral spirits, but I'm going to go really super lightly. And try and put just a little bit of this brown in. Okay, we do have a shadow that I can see right around this little top area. So you can take like a dark gray, like more of a warm gray, like a French gray, to make that a little bit darker. Or you can stick like a blue in there. Blues are also good to make a little bit darker. Like a lighter, like it's like a light blue, like a lighter blue, but it just kind of gives it a little bit of a shadow. So we can do that and just add a little bit of shadow to this end right in here. Won't be much, just be a little bit. See how we're building? We're just continuously building up layers, continuously giving this life little by little. I'll make this a little bit darker. I'm going to add a little bit of black in here. Okay. Now we're going to continue back onto the lower beak. Let's try and get some more of these colors in here. So I want to lighten up those colors. I'm going to add some more oranges in there, especially some brighter oranges and reds. Let's try and push that up just a little bit. See if I can't take some of my, what is this, primrose? No, this is light flesh, 10%. I'm going to stick some in there on top of that red I just stuck in to give it a little bit more of a highlight. And we're going to do the same for here. That goes up pretty good ways. Lightly. I might take a little bit of this darker red and kind of add it in there. A little bit of a shadow. Let's add some more of our oranges. Kind of speckling them in there. Apricot, just to kind of give it a little bit of highlight. I'm using raw umber. And then we can throw in some other colors. We can throw in French gray. There is like this purplish tone, so if you want to use like a violet in there, we can, especially in here. I think this is going to split. Okay. I know this seems a little bit light in there. I wouldn't worry too much. We're just kind of adding in our layers and it will come together. I'm adding a little bit of a French gray, just regular French gray in here, just kind of draw in some little lines here that I noticed. I mean, there's a lot of splits in his beaks, or in his beak. It's only got one beak, but it feels like he's got a million when you look at it. Okay, I want to take a light blue. Really need to switch that up from a purple to a light blue. Where's that violet? And then we got some yellows kind of coming in here. So I want to keep on continuing with his beak, but I want to add a little bit of the yellows. We've got like kind of like a dirty yellow. What is this one? Yellow ochre? Is it yellow ochre? It is. It might work. I want to add a little bit of, hold on. Color in that. I think it goes a little bit dark in there too. The bottom of his beak in this little area, kind of is a little bit yellow in there too. We're still adding layers, so don't think that that's done, because it's definitely not done. Where's the colors that I said I didn't want to add that are too yellow? Maybe a primrose. I like the primrose. So let's get primrose, and let's do a little bit. Yeah, let's just get this one and work with this one for right now. Take this yellow, it's mustard yellow. It's not mustard, it's yellow ochre. Doesn't want to layer too much on top, so let's take this white. I'm going to take and just highlight a little bit underneath this chin, just so you could see it a little bit better. Maybe add a little bit of a highlight in here, just a little one. Yeah, it's a little bit of a darker tip in there. Let me add, where's my violet? There we go. Looks like it needs to be darker. Let me take the indigo. Where's my indigo? I'm going to blend that out just ever so slightly. It's almost time for me a new brush. I don't want it as dark. Want the lines there. Just gotta be careful. There. A little bit darker, but not much darker. Okay. And then, let me look at his beak up here. I don't want to brush that off with my hand. That would be not good if I were to make marks. Where's my primrose? wanted to make that lighter and it was a little bit stubborn. It looks better. I sharpen this. I'm going to stick some of my browns back in. And put some more of the oranges in here. You can always take some of that brown that I was using and we can always put a little bit of like brown in here if we wanted to. I wonder if I have, I know the dark indigo is one thing, but I want to see if I don't have like a blue, but not too blue. Persian blue. I don't know if that's really going to work out. Yeah, I want that one. What is this one? Indie Throne blue. I don't know what that is. I want to make it a little bit darker. I want to add a little bit of a bluish tone to it, but then I'm going to go on top of it and I want to make it a little bit darker. So we might end up going back to the dark indigo. Okay. And where is my, this is my purple. Let's see where a lighter color is. I just want to make a little bit more of a highlight, kind of showing where this outside edge is. But it runs right along here. Even though it's supposed to be more in the shadow. So, I don't know. Okay. So now I want to move on. I'm going to go ahead and we want to work on his, could work on his wing there, but let's go ahead and work on the top of his head. So I'm going to go ahead and move him down just a little bit more. So while that dries, I don't know why it's like in my camera, it's like I can see, I can't really see the highlight that I put in as much as I'd like. And that works out a little bit better. Okay, so now he's got this kind of two-tone color. He's got like this yellow kind of color that, let's see if I can't put some of this in here. What is this called? Light flesh 10%. Is it 10%? Yeah. We'll use it for now. But he's got this light kind of fur, yellowish kind of fur. It kind of goes up like this, comes back around. It's got a little bit of a tinge there. But it kind of goes like that and then on around. So this whole area here, he has more of a yellowish tone. And then back behind here is more, since he's got the light kind of shining on him and it's kind of super, super highlighted. I mean, he could be all that color, but I doubt it. It looks like almost like a pinkish tone with the whites and some blues in there. So we are just gonna, we're gonna end up using some of our blues, maybe even some of our, we could even use our violets in there too, our light violets. Maybe some of these pink, peachy kind of tones in there. We could use that. First thing I want to do is I want to get rid of some of this pencils mark, because on some of this, especially if you're working a really lighter area, try and remove some of the pencil. You don't have to remove it all to where you can't see it if you don't want to, but I would still try and remove the most darkest. If you got any kind of lead or pencil mark that's just a little bit too dark, it will definitely show through if you're using lighter colors. So you want it, you can still see mine, like it's still there. It's just not really, really like too much lead on the paper, basically. So I really do like this peachy tone. And then also the primrose can be used as a highlight in the yellow. So we're working with a light flesh, 10% was pretty good. We also working with primrose, but I want to make it a little bit more of that yellow in there. Maybe I have some darker tones. This is raw sienna. I don't know if that one will be. And then we got yellow ochre. I like the raw sienna. So let's go with the raw sienna for right now. I don't really like to say that it has yellow in it. It's like, okay, don't really want to add yellow because then it looks weird, but in this case, it seriously is yellow. So I think let's just start off with the raw sienna and then put in the highlights. So we'll just use this. And basically, I'm just going to use this as my base tone. So I'm going to come in here and basically make the whole thing, and make sure this is kind of spiky. Just a little bit uneven. You don't want it really, really spiky, but just a little bit uneven is fine. I'm just lightly filling it in. We'll end up blending this out with the odorless mineral spirits and then going over it with our highlight, like our different tones. We can either go a little lighter and add in some of the little furry little hairs, little furs. Now, I added quite a bit in here, and as you can see, what did it do? It like really saturated the paper. Really should have dried that off a little bit more, because you don't want it removing all the pigment like I just did. Still toned it, so that's still good. That's what I wanted. Definitely wanted it toned, but I didn't want to oversaturate it. Okay, so now that I have that toned, I'm going to go ahead and let that part dry before we go on top of it. We don't want to damage our paper. Definitely don't want that. All right, so now let's go ahead and we can kind of work above it and just start adding in some of our tones in here. What color is this? I'm using more of a peachy kind of pink. Oh my gosh. It's like Herculaneum red. Herculaneum red. Wow. If I could read that, that is just amazing. We'll just try this out and see how it goes. Oh yeah. I like this color. It's like a pink kind of tone. I just want the hint of this in here. Oops. I think I need to move my little mouse over here because I am clicking buttons on it, which is not good. Okay. Add a little bit in here. We got a little bit of yellow kind of coming off in here too. So we'll go ahead and take some of that yellow ochre. I just want to kind of throw it in here. Okay. Now, there is some lighter tones, so this one here is burnt ochre 10%. I'm going to use this in some of these lighter tones. Instead of going straight to white, I wouldn't do that. Kind of avoid white until the very end. That's all I can say. Just avoid white until the very end when you're putting in your highlights. Don't go straight to white, even if it is white. Try and figure out a different color than white. Still gonna add the darker layers to him too, so. I am gonna soften this out by adding some odorless mineral spirits. It may wash out some of it, or at least look like it, but it will smooth down some of the gritty graininess. And we're not done. If it looks like a smooth top head, his little furs that kind of stick up there, we do those at the end. So don't worry, those will be included. But right now we're trying to work on the more solid stuff. Any wispies or anything that needs to come out from his head, we're going to do with more of a highlight, like more of our whites or our brighter colors. And those we'll use. And those we'll use whenever we do our stuff. I clicked on something. Whoa, okay. I'm guessing you guys didn't hear a word I said, and I do not know for how long I was going. Jeez. That's what happens whenever you click on a mouse and you did not know that you clicked on a mouse. So I do apologize, and I know a lot of my viewers or subscribers like to rewatch a lot of my work at a later time, and when that happens, that's the reason why I didn't have anybody like chiming in. My husband's downstairs. He's actually busy working on a vehicle, so yeah, did not know. Yep, sorry about that. So the colors that we were using to get some of these pinks and stuff, that was the Herculaneum red. And then we used the lighter colors on the inside. That is the burnt ochre 10%. That was the lighter colors. We did go back in with a little bit of the yellow. If you guys missed that. The other thing is, I said with the highlights with the top, if he's got any kind of fluffies or stray kind of fur or any kind of hairs sticking up or little feathers, whatever it is, that we'll do at the end with more of a brighter color or a highlight, like a white or a brighter color. So don't worry about that. We're just working on creating a base layer and getting our tones in there first. Gosh, I'm so sorry. I did not know that when my arm hit that mouse, it totally put it on something different. Like, I am so sorry. It is definitely, I don't know, feels like a Monday to me. I'm just kind of blending this out, just kind of getting rid of some of that gritty grainy. Might come in here and just kind of blend these two just a little bit, the edges. Don't have to get rid of all gritty grainy look. We are going to layer on top of this. I will have to come in here and add some darks. So there's going to be quite a bit of stuff happening. Here we go. I wonder if that angled camera had an actual audio on it. Let me see real quick. Hello, hello. Actually did. No. No, it was on okay, it was on this one. Okay, so you guys would have still heard me. It just probably sounded weird. Okay. Maybe you guys didn't miss anything that I said. Oh, that would be really nice. I hope so. Okay. My eyes are just like going Nuts on me. So we're just going to go ahead and let that dry. I think the yellow is dry here, so we can go ahead and start adding in some of our highlights. And I'm just using this primrose, and in some of these areas, I probably wouldn't go too extreme. Definitely around the eye or any of these areas here where you can definitely see some of these highlights. I mean, some of this area here is going to be a whole lot lighter. You're only going to have just bits and pieces of the darker yellow kind of showing through. I like to come back through and add some more of the yellow. And if you're thinking, well, you just put the same color down. Sometimes I like to come through and add a little bit more just to see if we can get some individual little marks in there going too. If it needs to be a little bit darker, we probably could find something a little bit more darker. Let's see how this is just a little bit more of that yellowish color. Kind of brings a little bit more of that life to it. There is a little bit of a shadow kind of going on in some of these areas. So we may have to go back in and probably let's add some of our violet to there, our violet gray. I like using this color with yellows. Whoa, what is that? Oh, it's a gnat. Huh. I thought it was a mosquito that just landed on my eyelash. I was like, oh my God. I've got a mosquito hanging off my eyelash. That was scary. A little bit of yellow kind of goes in behind that. And then we can get more scarce, just little places here and there with the violet. That is super nice. And I don't know if you guys can see that well, so I will lift it up just a little bit so you can see a little bit more. Probably more magnified than my sight can see, but we added a little bit of that violet in there and it gave us a little bit better of a tone. Kind of looks kind of funny. His head looks like it's made up like he's skinned. He's bald. It's like a skinned neck pelican here. Well, we'll fix him. So we can try adding even a little bit of the light blue in here because I do see those highlights and it looks really nice. So we can come up and just kind of add some of those in. Maybe one a little bit taller. And I'm just kind of going around a little bit of the edge here. Gives them a little bit of highlight. Might look just a little bit funny since we haven't finished the rest of it to give it its highlight. Let's just do this opposite day today. All right, so kind of add a little bit in there. And we can actually trickle down some of this blue if you want to, just a little bit in here. Won't hurt none. Okay, so with the lighter colors on this, we can either go, oops, I'm like rubbing all over the microphone. My goodness. I don't know if I really want to go with a light blue. Yeah, I don't really want to go, well, we can go a little bit with it and then take it to the next step with a lighter white. Basically this here doesn't really have a whole lot of texture to it because of how far it is away. So we're just going to add our own. Let's see what the white looks like. Adding back in some more of that blue, just to kind of lighten it up just a little bit. Right in this area here too, I want to add in some more whites. Where's my highlight for the yellow primrose? And then some of our darker yellow. Oh, there we go. This is just our, I think, this is raw sienna. Okay, this is our raw sienna. Just trying to brighten this up a whole lot more. Okay. I really like the way it looks. Trying to lighten up some of these areas by adding some of this white back in. Okay, and then he's got these little kind of like yellow hairs that we've seen there. So we'll just kind of add a little bit more spontaneous little hairs kind of growing in here. Remember, we'll probably have to go back through this and because we're going to have to add our browns in later. Wanted to throw in a little bit of yellow in there and then a little bit of our shadow. What did we use? That purple, the violet. Kind of separate some of these chunks. Go. I wish my camera really did it justice, because for right now, like, it's a whole lot darker and richer. We definitely got some darks, we got some lights kind of going in there, and you can just see how those colors really kind of merge. Now we definitely have some highlights on the top of his head, as you can see. Ooh, changes the color just by putting my finger there. Maybe a little bit closer. And the blues look really nice on the top of his head, just kind of adding a little bit of highlight to him. That is very tiny though. It is kind of like a tinier head. We'll zoom it away just a little bit so you can kind of see at a whole. Because I don't know, I think we can go a little bit more. Sorry for the shaking there. I'm just trying to get the view. Here we go. So we still have his body to work with. I know this is glowing like it's glowing, but it's not really that bright at all. I don't know why it just, maybe the lighting. Oh gosh. At first, look how neon blue, because I put my shirt there, it changes all the colors. So, and I can't even see now. It's like too dark. All right, so now we have it focused on our little bird here, or on our little pelican. He looks really super cute. I'm actually really super excited about him because he is definitely different. If we want to, we could add a little bit of yellows to him. I'm starting to look at it now. I'm starting to see yellows in areas that I didn't necessarily see yellows before. But we can always add a little bit more to it if needed. Like even... yeah, a little bit of darker. You can even add some browns. And then right in here, I know we're not zoomed in, but there is some little specklies, kind of browns, kind of going off of this fur. And we can easily just kind of drop those in where we want. And as far as the shadow goes, actually, well, let's go ahead and do that. Let's drop it down. I know, I'm moving you guys around like you're going for a joyride here. But I really want to add in some shadows, and I haven't done that. So like right here on his neck, he had a little bit of a shadow kind of going on. You can take some of your violet gray, and you can kind of shadow that in a little bit if you want to. You can also take and kind of shadow any of this in. Or throw back in maybe some of these highlights or low lights if you're wanting to take and add in a little bit of texture back in. But like I see, it's just really, really small, so it's kind of hard to see all of that. But if you ever wanted to, and you wanted to make some little texture marks in there, just like I did, I made some little ones. Nothing too much. Then you can always take your violet gray and do that. If you want to soften out some of those edges, maybe the end marks where you started off was a little bit too much. You can always go back over it with the white and just kind of soften that out just a little bit, anywhere where needed. Okay. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up, unless we want to add any more to it, which, I mean, you always could. The more you add to it, the more it's going to look more realistic. I mean, it's really up to you. But at least you guys know kind of like how to add texture and fur marks and just kind kind of wondering if we should darken it up. Let me just see what we can do. Probably even add, I know that we like the violet. Well, let's just try some of this gray. What is this? French gray? I don't know if I really want to try the gray though. Not really. I do want to add a little bit more of a darker, I guess the gray to right in this area. Just kind of add some little texture marks. This one here looks like he had a little bit of a crease in there. And you can spend as long as you want. Like I said, the more you add to your drawing, the more details, the more time you spend on it, you're going to have, it's going to come out looking really good, and it's going to look so much better. But you have to put in the time. You definitely have to put in the time in order to achieve that. And you're just going to have to go back and forth. If something don't look good, or you're not liking the way something looks, don't worry about it. Go back in, layer some more. As long as you didn't push down too hard and you eliminated some of your tooth of your paper, then you should be able to go back in and layer some more. Okay, so we're pretty much coming to the end of this video, or at least of this live stream. It has definitely been fun. Sometimes it's just like, you need to step away from all the work and just kind of draw and paint, which is the reason why I love doing what I do. Let me try and blend some of this out. It looks like it kind of fades through here. Yeah, I like that. That makes it more of a softer look and a softer blend. You still got that color kind of like rotating there, but now it is a little bit, hello kitty girl, hi. And then like, hi. Oh, hi you guys. I know, it's time to wrap it up. So next week we'll be working on the darker feathers of this pelican. And we'll be putting more highlights, more lowlights, and just continuing on with him, because I do know that he is not done. There is more to this painting that I'm going to do. It is going to end up having kind of like a surprise for you guys. I'm definitely going to throw in something different, because I think it would look really cool. So anyways, remember to leave a like on this channel. Definitely helps the channel grow. And I guess we'll go ahead and sum it up. Remember that even after this live stream, for those of you who like to watch my live stream on a replay, just remember to hit that like, leave a comment, any comment, definitely helps the channel grow. And plus that, I like to hear from you guys. I like to see you guys. I like to see that you guys are kind of interacting. If there's anything you got a question on, or you just want to say good job, any of those comments definitely helps me grow personally, because it makes me feel good, and definitely need the positivity. Definitely need the positivity. So anyways, I guess until next time, bye you guys.